recorded.
Hey, Ayanna. Hey, David. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Bosswife.live. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing wonderful.
Doing good.
Glad to be here.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. Can y'all calm down a little bit? You seem really excited over there.
We are.
Right.
I don't know if there's a like calm down button.
Yeah, we don't have a level down. We can't do that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, tonight you guys are talking about the confident spouse. And so I invite you and your husband as well on the show, as well as my husband, because tonight they are the confident spouse. You know, a lot of times as the woman, we have to be the confident one in the relationship because of a lot of outside, I guess, the way the world deems relationships or whatever. You know, we're supposed to be their confidant, I guess, and their backbone and how we support them. So tonight I wanted to reverse it a little bit, I guess, politically saying, and have them on and to hear how they feel about being that confident spouse to a boss wife. Okay. So my first question for you guys is, if you could have a movie to describe you, and don't discuss it, I want an individual answer. A movie to describe your relationship, what would it be?
Ooh, wait.
Don't look at him. Dave, what would our movie
hard
be?
because we don't like chick flicks. Like we don't like the lovey-dovey
It doesn't
movies.
have to be a chick flick. So what movie would it be? So I'm gonna say my movie because he was thinking about his earlier. Mine would probably be The Fast and Furious.
I would say Harlem Nights.
Oh my God. I barely even remember that movie.
Oh my gosh, it's a classic.
I know it is, but I haven't seen it in like forever. But yeah, so brother David, what about you?
I would have to say life.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, life. Like I gotta explain why.
Not yet.
Not yet. I can, I mean.
Daryl.
No, just come back to me.
We already went to everybody.
I'm gonna say baby boy.
Oh.
Okay.
And I don't think I really couldn't think of no movies like that, but it probably ain't what y'all think. The reason I said it.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead and share with us why you said it.
Just a picture of Tyrese he was very, very immature, you know, in his relationships, you know, and I can see myself there as far as like growing. You know, I can see myself being the one who, you know, starting arguments, you know, not letting stuff go, just needing to mature. And so I would say baby boy. And then like real life things happening to actually make him be the man. And so, you know, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
A lot of things that happen to, you know, make me have to, you know, man up.
All right, Jody.
No.
Right. David, how about you? You want to explain us why you said life?
I think just how in the movie Claude and Ray,
right, how
they kind of just how they ran into each other, and what happened, what they thought would be a kind of a innocent, quick interaction turned out to be like a whole full lifetime type journey.
Right.
For me, like the way we met, you know, it was, I had a thought that, you know, she would be my wife like in that moment, but for it to pan out the way it did, like, yeah, it was kind of beyond expectations.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Ayanna?
So that was so deep. I think I want to take my
Right.
No.
I changed my mind.
Right.
I got a new move.
I got a new movie.
Harlem Nights just reminds me of us because I think we watched it on repeat for the first, I know, maybe like 5 years of our relationship. It was something that we, no matter what stage of our development or whether we were mature within ourselves and mature within our love and our relationship and our commitment, like we could sit down and we could come together with that movie. We could laugh. We knew every word. Like that movie was something that brought joy to us. It has our favorite actresses and actors in it. And it's just something that was kind of like a bringing together of us that during that movie. We watched that movie and it was just, everything else stood still, everything else disappeared, everything else didn't matter but us in that moment. And to me, that's, no matter where we are in our relationship, in our marriage, we have that connection, that friendship, that laughter, that is us. And we always find a way to get back to that place.
Right. Okay.
It's your mind.
That's funny you said that because Life was that movie for us.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I think the first 10 years maybe we watched it like almost every day probably. Like, and I definitely know every word of that movie, every scene. Like that was one of my top favorite movies ever.
And that and Thin Line.
Yes, and I was praying he didn't say Thin Line was our movie.
Then you had to explain that one.
That was my movie right there.
But yeah, so I said Fast and Furious because of the relationship between Vin Diesel and what's his name?
In the movie.
Yeah.
I know the movie Brian O'Connor.
Brian. Yeah, Brian. But because of their relationship, and kind of like how they met, wasn't really supposed to go down the way it did, and how he just gave over to, because of who he was, and he really saw something different in him. He was like, you know what, I'm gonna roll with him, and that's kind of how I felt with Daryl. Like, even though he was my bad boy, I guess, I felt like, oh, okay, I can roll with him.
So she was the narc. And I was
that was just that was what I'm saying. I'm not a narc. But I was the one to keep him in line. Yeah, pretty much. But that's why. You said what?
I said, you said, we don't do that. No, we don't do that.
Right. Right. Okay, that's amazing. So, Ayanna, you want to give us a little bit of history of, and I've already shared kind of what I know of your bio for my audience. Do you want to kind of elaborate on what makes you a boss wife?
Well, I don't necessarily coin myself as a boss wife, but I am very honored and to be coined as a boss wife. And I hear it very often in my home because my husband definitely coins me as the boss. For sure. But besides being the boss in my home, which is a lot, a lot of women know that just being the boss in your home, as far as making sure the kids are okay, making sure the home is a sanctuary, a place of peace, the cleaning, the cooking, the taking care of your husband, making sure you're his helpmeet, that's enough to be a boss within itself. But outside of the home, I have my own business called 13-4. I'm a relationship coach where my expertise is in relationship coaching, life coaching, and parent and child relationships. Professionally, I am a case manager for foster care at an organization called Centerstone, and I love working with families and children. I also do that with 13-4, working with families and children and relationships. It's just my heart. I'm passionate about pushing others to be the best that they can be, especially when it comes to relationships, because we are not in this world alone. We can't live alone. We can't do alone. We can't be alone. I know the saying is that you're born alone and you die alone, but in that dash and in between, you're going to have a healthy relationships in order to sustain, in order to be successful, in order to be a boss. You have to be able to maintain healthy, sustainable relationships. So that's what I'm passionate about. And I think that's what sets me aside and makes me a boss.
Hey. David, how do you feel about her being a boss?
I love it. I mean, what else I supposed to do?
Good answer. Good answer.
No, huh? Oh, she looked at me like I had to straighten up.
No.
But no, no, I do. I admire it. And here's why. Because early on in our relationship, you know, I was not particularly excited about having, you know, a housewife. But she just took it on and redefined what it looked like, you know, and what it meant. That was totally different from what I grew up and was taught about it. Right. And so I look at her and her education and what she learned and her background from like child and family studies. And in hindsight, I'm like, she really applied everything she learned and studied to our home. And so, you know, just like, you know, so when I call her the boss, it's like, yeah, I'm asking like, okay, what do we do with the kids? Like how do like what are we doing with food, with the food situation? How are we managing this? Like I look to her and I lean on her for that type of guidance because there's just some things that she has a ear for and an eye for that I don't have. And so I've grown to fully appreciate, her being a boss. And now that she's, working outside of the home, um, there's some tasks that she used to do that, I got to step up and do. And it's like, how did you do it? Right? Like, how did you do it all these years, so effortlessly and so with so much, with so much, and I don't want to use the word professionalism, but just like you carried it and you did it so well, right? And with a certain pride and dignity, right? And so, yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, I'm cool with having a boss wife.
Okay. Now, besides being her arm candy, what do you do for a living?
Arm candy is pretty much it.
Right. That's a good title to hold, right?
Right, yeah. No, I'm an engineer, an author, and a musician, verging on the bridge of entrepreneurship. So just kind of trying to combine all the talents and things I do into one direction. So.
Okay, awesome. And the way that you guys kind of blend everything and make everything work, like, is there ever a struggle there? Like, how do you feel like you guys balance each other?
I think we balance each other well. It was rocky at first.
Right.
And it was a mental rockiness. Like,
right.
Yeah. So it was the way we looked at we was looking at the same thing, thinking about it differently, and seeing it from different perspectives and different angles. And so just that alone caused some friction in our relationship. But now I think it's kind of like we both look at it like, okay, I got it. I'm learning. I've learned how, for me personally, I've learned how to see our family, our relationship from her perspective, rather than just seeing it from my shoes. And because of that, I think it makes it a little easier and not as rough, with the balance.
Right. Okay. So
and we grew up together. So we grew up together, literally.
Right.
We grew up together. Like we were 17 and 18 when we got together. So the struggle was real, as they say, because we were still so immature within ourselves. And we didn't even know who we were. We didn't even know what we wanted. We didn't even know, who we were to become. So it was a struggle in seeing the fact that, as a wife, as a spouse, as a helpmeet, our job is to help to direct and to be a help to the man of God and who God has created him to be. And in his immaturity, he's like, you ain't the boss of me. you know, you don't tell me what to do. And, you know, and so as his wife, as his partner, as his spouse, as his significant other, I'm just seeing who the man that I know he can be, and he's fighting from that, and it's vice versa. Like, you know, he's like he's checking off his list and saying, well, I didn't want that in a woman. Nope. I didn't, you know, nope, my woman's gonna be like this, my woman's gonna be like that, you know. So just kind of coming together and understanding that we did mold each other in that way. You know, we grew up together. So it was kind of like what he needed me to be, I was, and what I needed him to be, he was, because that was what making this relationship work was going to look like. And so now 20 years later, it's a little easier because like he said, our perspectives have intertwined more, and it's not as resistant, because it's now it's like I can, you know, his favorite saying is, you know what I like. So when I'm ordering food for him, I'm like, what you want? You know what I like. It's like I know his thoughts, I know his perspectives, and vice versa. He knows my thoughts, he knows my mind. Sometimes he can tell me things that I will do or won't do, and I'm like, I ain't gonna do that. And then when I do it, I'm like, dang, David told me I was gonna do it. So
that's amazing. It's amazing to have a spouse like that. I love the fact that you guys can pretty much finish each other's sentences and read each other's minds. Like, that's how marriage should definitely be. Like, we should definitely know each other inside and out. So Daryl, what do you feel? How do you feel about having a boss wife?
It's a challenge. I mean, it started off as a challenge because you talk about lists. I had the perception that, you know, my wife is going to, you know, come home, cook, clean, you know, do this, do X, Y, and Z. And having a boss wife just really showed me that I had to step my game up. So it wasn't just she got her end over here and I got my end over here. It's we got our end. And so, you know, some days coming home, you know, being the one that cleaned up and being the one that cooked, like that was a challenge at first, because I'm like, man, I want to come home and eat, you know. And so, you know, but after seeing how she pursued working, her business, school, you know, different ventures, after seeing all of that, I realized she can't do all of that and try to do everything at the house, you know. And, you know, so that's where I had to grow to get to the level where, you know, we don't just have this role over here is yours, this role over here is mine. You know, we work together in what we do. And so, I mean, I would definitely say, you know, it's still a challenge at times, you know, because sometimes you just want to do nothing, you know, but you got responsibility, you got children, you know, you got things to do. And so if she has something that she has to do, I can't deem what I have as more important. And say, you know, well, you need to take care of this. No, we have to work together. So and that was probably more or less the challenge, the things that she's you know, active and involved in, you know, because her brain is always going. She always got an idea. She always got something to do. It's always something, you know. And so being with it, and that's part of who she is. It's almost like for a long time, she was like, I'm not going to do who I am, pretty much. And now it's like, I'm going to do me. You know what I mean? And so like this stuff is just popping up everywhere, you know, and she's like, this is this, and, you know, drawing out buildings and doing all of this stuff. It's a challenge. When your wife come home or you get home and it's a whole sketch drawn out of a warehouse, pretty much, that is supposed to be her modeling studio.
Yes.
She has created this thing, a blueprint, from the front door to the back door, where vases go, where pictures hang on the wall. Her brain is totally different. So it's always, you know, I believe it'll always be a challenge, but it's a challenge that I have to rise up to and not be insecure in who I am and push her to do what she does. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we can get to a place where it's like, well, you just doing too much. But I had to realize this is who she is. You know, she's that person that always got an idea. She's that person that's always moving, always doing something, always building, you know. She speaks to the women's shelter. Like, sometimes it's a challenge. She has to come home and she's speaking to, people in the women's shelter who are going through things and encouraging them. And I'm like, what we gonna eat?
Right.
But I have to realize she has a mission, she has a goal, she has a purpose, just like I do. And so, I would say it's definitely been a challenge, but I would say we're working together, to accomplish it. And I have to, my main thing is I have to realize what I do is never more important than what she does. You know what I mean? So, and for us to like put it on like a higher playing field, like we can't put ourselves above one another, and I think in my mind, I think I was doing that in the beginning of the relationship, like as the man, like what I say go, this is what we're gonna do. This is, and so we have to submit, we got to submit to one another. And so it's been a challenge. It still is a challenge, but she's growing. And I mean, her growth is like explosive. I'm serious.
I knew you was gonna say. I knew she was gonna say so.
It's like explosive. But one thing that I can definitely appreciate is that a lot of the things that she do, it helped me in my business. Because when I see her like building a page and doing different things, I'm like, okay, I can do that, or I can ask for help. And so she's one of them people, like she won't wait for people to do things. She'll figure out how to do it herself. She'll print out whatever paperwork she needs to do this, do that. I done pretty much gave up on the situation. Such and such thing, answer the phone. You're supposed to come put whatever you're supposed to put together. We'll deal with it later. She is the one who, they didn't pull through. So let's go online. Let's figure out how to do this. Did you call this person? Did you do that? And so, that boss mindset has pushed me to not stop. So, it's a challenge, but she makes me consistent. Let me say that. She makes me consistent. She don't give me that room to just say, I can't do it. She makes me consistent. I think she kind of giving me the
right, because the preacher coming out, like he just keeps talking.
It's the last thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna sit down.
My last point.
Come on before you know.
I'll limit my responsibility.
No. Thank you, though. That was good, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. But what I was gonna say was, as a boss wife, we don't get to sit down, we don't get to relax. I took off Good Friday, and then that Monday after, Daryl texted me and he was like, "Are you bored?" Or no, I think when he got home, he asked me, "Were you bored today?" What is that? Like,
right.
I don't know what that word is. Like, how do you get bored? First of all, I got 2 dogs, 4 children who I thought was gonna be at school and they weren't. So I'm like, no. No, not bored at all. You know what that is? But that's hilarious. But no, we don't really get to relax. Our brain doesn't need to shut off. Like, it just goes. And my whole purpose is I don't want to not finish whatever God has put in me to start. So I definitely take that seriously, and a lot of things I don't get to do. I have a lot of things that are on the shelf, and it's like, well, Lord, whenever you open those doors, we'll walk through them. But, for now, I got to table my fireworks.
Just for now.
Yeah,
just set out the sparklers. So you're not tabling. You just put Just put the she just take the the sparklers or the little what's the little bobcats or the little the big fireworks show. You just take a little bit at a time.
Right. But how do you feel? How do you feel? Like, what aspect of your personality do you think, definitely keeps you on the move, like keeps you motivated and going?
I think that I'm always looking at the glass half full. I'm always seeing the best in every situation, everybody, trying to at least. And that just, I'm a server. I love to serve people. I love to see people happy. And it's not from a selfish place. I don't serve other people to get things in return. You know, some people like to do for others so they can say that I was the one that did it, or I helped them get to where they are. I am genuinely pleased just seeing other people happy. So if I can be a support system, if I can be a support system when it comes to you getting to where you want to go in your business, or you getting to where you want to be in your relationship, or you getting to where you want to get in your life, you connecting with your kids, you kids getting back with their families, or being, you know, in a healthy environment, to me, it just does my heart well to know that I could even be used in that way. And so that part of my personality always keeps me going, because there's always somebody who needs help. There's always somebody who needs support. There's always somebody, you know, and as you know, your gifts will make room for you, but they also can be a blessing and a curse.
Right.
And so I tease with you all the time and say fireworks, because your dreams and your visions are so big. Like when Daryl was talking about you drawing that warehouse, you know, that is awesome. That is, you know, that is like manifestation times 10. Like you have a vision, you know, God put that vision in your mind, and no matter what anybody says, you're going to make sure that you are on the right track to fulfilling that vision. But we also know that you can put a lot out there. We also know that that can be a stress and a strain for you, because you're only one person. And like your husband said, you don't like asking for help. So our gifts. Oh, he didn't say that. No, he didn't say that. I'm saying that as someone who knows you personally. But you may suggest and throw it out there, but if it's not like we're jumping on it, you're like, oh, well, I got it. It's already done. It's been done. I did that last week, you know.
Right.
So with that being said, our gifts can also be a point of strain if we don't learn how to have that aspect of self-care, if we don't learn how to prioritize the things that, okay, yes, this is a goal, yes, this is a vision, but like you said, maybe I need to shelf that for a minute until God has really made provision for that to come to life, to come to fruition. So it can be stressful, because I can, you know, I've had to kind of pull myself back and say, am I putting people, you know, outside people before my family? Because this is our first ministry. This is, you know, my family has to come before all else, you know. So when I was bringing children into my home, was I doing it at the risk of my biological children? Was I doing it? Was it harmful in any way to my marriage? I had to, you have to prioritize, and you have to really, you know, make sure that your gift does not get covered up, but it is also not a cause of strain and stress in your life, because that will make you shut down completely. That will make you completely divert from the path that God has for you when you are overworked, when you are stressed, when you are, you know, overwhelmed. Using your gift in overdrive, and you're kind of like on a treadmill. So you're running and running and running and running, and you're not getting anywhere. So it can be difficult at times, but I have tried to learn. I think the older I've gotten, the more mature I've gotten. And of course, with the help of my confident spouse, who has kept me encouraged, but also kept me grounded to know, like, that ain't your ministry. Like, you know, yes, you know, you have poured into their life, you have planted that seed, you have helped, you have served, but now you got to let God do the rest. Now you have to allow what the divine order of things, and the divine order does not mean that Ayanna's hand is in everything. So,
okay. Well, thank you for that response. That's amazing. And that's true. We do have to learn how to ask for help, even though we're the boss or a boss or whatever. You do have to learn how to ask for help. You do have to realize that we do have resources that are there, you know, that we got to learn how to pull on. And like you said, our family is our first ministry. We definitely cannot let anything come before our family. I.e., that's why my kids and my husband do everything that I do. Like, it's a family policy. Like, we all gonna put together some tickets. We all gonna be in here gluing together some pieces or whatever. Like, everything I do, listen, we all gonna do this together. No man, no fight. But
right.
David, do you have any advice for that confident spouse that may be listening tonight, or for that woman who has a spouse at home that just needs that extra boost, or, you know, what she could maybe give to her husband or whatever, you know, if she wants to share this with her husband, like, what would you advise for that support for your boss wife?
Communication.
Okay.
Yeah, talk. I think I've learned over the years that you can really jump to conclusions, and it's really about what story have you told yourself.
Right.
and, and I got a cousin, man, that I love dearly. And he got two phrases: "It's good day," oh, he got three. Then you did.
Oh.
And the other one is, "Who told you that?" And so I think when it comes to, supporting your spouse, and they having dreams, and you have to just get to the point to where you're willing to openly talk about it, whether it's insecurities about what they're doing, how is it making you feel, whether it's about your aspirations and your dreams and goals, and like I think that's a first place, is to sit down and just have a calm, like, grown up talk about what it is, and listen, and be open minded, and just have some clarity on what you're both dealing with. And I think as you continually do that, consistently, whatever struggles, whatever challenges you may be facing, they begin to iron out. And so that would be my advice, is, talk, have a conversation about it, iron it out, listen, and write it down,
Right.
rehash it.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So that'd be my advice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think that when you said the story you tell yourself, that reminded me that I remember a conversation we had when you said you felt like, as your wife and as your husband, you felt like that our purposes should align. You felt like our goal should be one, and the goal is one. The goal for our family is one. The goal for, having a successful professional life is the same, but the giftedness is different. So I think that he felt like, his vision of the story that correct me if I'm wrong, when we had this conversation, the vision that you had for a marriage and a husband and a wife was like, I have a gift, you have a gift, and our gifts come together and make one vision.
Yeah. I think the revelation for me was, it will and it should be aligned, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we are in charge and in control of that alignment, right? We have to be aligned with God's purpose for us as individuals, first and foremost, number one. And as we become aligned to God and his purpose for our lives as individuals, that alignment as a couple will happen through the interaction of, making sure that you're right with God and where he's instructing you to do. And so, yeah, that was to sum up what she just said.
Okay. Girl, you have any advice for the husbands or the wives to take back to their husbands for that confident spouse?
No, I ain't got that. What I would say is, find out who you are. Find out who you are. It's hard to support someone else when you don't know who you are. Grow and be confident in who you are. And when you do that, you can push other people. But a lot of times, if you're not confident in who you are, then you're going to tear down somebody else because you don't know who you are. And so my advice would definitely be to take the steps to mature in who you are. And then when you do that, you can help your spouse grow. And the other thing is, like David said, communication. I cannot tell you how many times I've thought things and played these stories in my head, how it's gonna go, and and instead of just actually putting those words out there and y'all come together and y'all figure out what y'all gonna do, I would definitely say work together. One of the things I think about with my wife, She has a whole lot more stuff going on than I do. But my thing is, when she blow up, that means I blow up too. So you got to push your wife. Her dreams is way bigger than mine. So I need to be on it. My advice would be on board with the big dreams. If your dream not that big and your spouse dream could put you in a position where you don't have to work no more, pushing big vision. And just and the advice is talking about becoming one. Whatever she does is part of me. Whatever I do is part of her. So realizing that in the relationship that you are one. So if she fails, then I fail. If I fail, then she fails. And so I believe that you have to have the mindset that we're one and we got to work together to accomplish the goal because we win. If she wins, I win. If I win, she wins.
Right. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. It was so much fun. And talk about that movie a little bit more and see which movie you guys actually feel like, like dive into a little bit deeper. I asked Daryl that before we even started, and it was funny just to hear the stuff he was throwing out. So we'll talk about that later. Right. I was like, what?
You would have had a better answer too if you would have, I need a prep questions for this.
Right. He was like, why did I get these list of questions? I said, that's my name. I said, I don't do a list of questions. We just flow with it. We just kind of feed off each other, to see how things go. So it'll be more natural. But thank you guys so much for coming in and talking to my community and sharing with us all the greatness that you guys have going on over there. The level of respect that we have for you guys is like off the charts, seriously. So thank you guys so much. And guys, you know where to find us every Tuesday night. Anywhere you listen to music, we are there. Thank you guys for coming in and supporting us and listening to us on tonight. And I will see you guys next Tuesday.
Bye. Thank you for having us.